to a new episode of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting on DJ Impact. I got all the bad boys here. It's even good to see Simon Street is back with us. And man, so much has been going on. A lot of wrestling. Listen, let's just do this. We're gonna talk about NXT's In Your House later on towards the end, okay? Because right now, I got to get things off my chest. I should just save it for one of my episodes that'll come later on at the end of the week. And I just might, who knows? But we got to talk about, fellas, this Impact pay-per-view that just happened this past Saturday against all odds. Now, let me say this, Sin City Steve, let me apologize because don't get too excited, okay? Because I feel that you just may get shit on this entire segment. That's the reason why.
hey, it doesn't affect me one way or the other.
Because I tell you, man, I don't
know
what
brother.
The fuck's going on. I'm, this was supposed to be exciting, bringing these companies together, seeing what could come out of this. Sure, there wasn't these so-called dream matches, but still there was a lot that could have been accomplished because of having these companies work together, and not shit of that has happened.
Well, you're still talking about it as if you're making it sound like it's over. So remember, there is a possibility that things can further happen, but
from what you've seen, what you're saying is you're having good positive hopes and vibes that something positive is going to come out of it, despite what we see.
I'm just trying to talk you off the ledge.
Sometimes, Impact, you have to throw up your hands and say, fuck it, because things definitely can get a lot worse.
Yeah. Okay. So, and it's weird because what sells fighting matches, WWE, MMA, boxing, what sells those are your main events. Okay, that's what sells the pay-per-view. And so it's interesting now that it's not like if you're going to purchase any pay-per-view, especially from Impact, you got to hope that you're getting just like you really enjoy the undercards.
Well, this was also an Impact Plus pay-per-view. So yes. I think that they also, weirdly enough, kind of sell it short, maybe, because it is Impact Plus and it's not the Slammiversary, which is coming up.
I guess, that could be one way of looking at that as well. But
so real quick, Impact, yeah. I do have a question. All right. How much are the pay-per-views again?
Well, depending on, first off,
how much did you pay? How much did you pay for the pay-per-view?
First off, it like Matt just said, it's an Impact Plus. So you have a subscription for that, like you were with Peacock, where it's $7.95 and you have that access. But nevertheless, let's just get right into it before we get over into the main event. Just some of the highlights of the match. You had the Good Brothers go against Sami Callihan and Tommy Dreamer. And the whole purpose of that match was just so the Good Brothers and Sami Callihan wouldn't somehow end up interfering in the greatest match of all time of Moose versus Kenny Omega. It's the whole purpose of having that match. So I guess we'll talk about how that ended up happening later. I'm glad they started off with that match because I was wondering how did, Sami somehow flew over to, from Tennessee to Jacksonville so quickly. So I'm glad they did start off the continuity, Steve.
But they also had to start off like this because Dreamer can't get back into the retirement home after 8 p.m. They lock the doors. So
right. Absolutely. What was great though, the X Division, I can, man, all I could do is just say I love watching these guys go at it. You had Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, and Rohit Raju. They all are going for the number one contenders match to fight Josh Alexander, which is going to happen at another time. I know people are not fans of no contest, but in this particular match, I mean, first off, you still got an overall great performance out of everybody like you normally would do. And I think this was finally building up on Madman Fulton, which I never understand why he haven't broke away yet. You know, he's still being the sidekick of Ace Austin for what now, 2 years? I mean, we ain't going to break this guy off and have his own matches, you know, but it did showcase him. And because it did, that, of course, that kind of left the match just in shambles. So it was no contest. So, you know, whatever. It's just, they'll end up doing it again, probably like we talked about at Slammiversary. But it was a good match. Apparently, Petey Williams, I'm just really loving this guy. Was he just, I don't know if you guys been watching him now, but apparently you guys remember watching him back then. Was he just as good then as I'm watching him now?
Oh, dude, he was awesome back then.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know?
Oh, completely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that ended up happening there. There was Rich Swann versus W. Morrissey, and Rich Swann got his ass beat. So I don't know, whatever. Jordan Gray.
Wait. I just want to know, man. Was that for the Impact Championship? Was that for the AEW Championship, for that matter?
No, it wasn't.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. And then you had let's see what's really worth. So you had the Knockouts Tag Team Champions you had, and that was really good. You know, Fire and Flavor, they still holding it down. They went against Kimberly and Susan. So they still holding it down as always. Good match. Impact Tag Titles, Decay versus Violent by Design. And Joe Doering is actually the other tag team holder. But because he was fighting Kojima that night, I guess the title moved over to Diener. So it was Diener that was in this particular match. And they went ahead and defeated Decay. So, and then you had the knockouts.
In the end, it really doesn't fucking matter because Impact's just kind of throwing, you know, their own world title to the fucking wolves. So, I mean, I guess anybody could step in, right?
Yeah, it was just weird. Like, so he's gonna fight here. Joe, give me your title and let me hand over to our other guy in the group, and he'll represent. He'll represent you, I guess. I don't know, but nevertheless, now let's get now to the shit show. Okay, Moose versus Kenny Omega.
Wait, the women's championship match, man.
Oh, I thought you know what? I had it there, and
Deanna Purrazzo versus Rosemary.
Yeah.
And the only reason I bring it up was because that is Jordan Grace's heel turn, man.
Yeah.
That was
Jordan Grace versus Tennille Dashwood. We're talking about the end. I didn't watch it, so I'm just kind of following along.
Or something like that. I don't know. This is the shit show that Impact.
I'm following on. I'm following along. I don't have access.
All I know is Jordan Grace made a heel turn. Whatever fucking match that was in.
Did you miss that?
Yeah, she was going against Tennille Dashwood, but the deal is that she lost to Tennille, which is like, how does Jordan Grace lose to Tennille, right? So when that happens, go ahead. Because
of the whatchamacallit, what's her face thought she was giving a hand to Jordan, and it cost her the fucking match. So then Jordan fucking laid her out. So Jordan went full heel.
Yeah. But yeah, that was that Knockouts Championship, and Deanna held on to it against Rosemary. So Yeah.
Did you expect a different outcome though? Before
Not
going
from
in?
that.
Nothing
No,
against Rosemary. I'm just saying in general, did you expect something different, like the
I
outcome?
didn't know.
Okay.
Not at all. I mean, they're really building on Deanna. I had mentioned this, not too long ago. And, when Matt Michaels and I was just going back and forth. But, Deanna, they're focusing their title on her at the moment. And I mean, she's doing a good job with it. I mean, it's not like she's horrible in the ring at all. So
it's going to be on Britt Baker within the next 3 weeks anyway. So who cares?
Oh shit!
Damn, bro. Way to rain on the parade. No, but Deanna Prazo is definitely a dominant champion.
Yeah. So the match, the main event couldn't be held at Impact's Center. It had to be held at the Daly's place because, I guess Sami Callihan, boy, I mean, what a build they got on Sami here, right? I mean, he's just a destroyer. He's scary. You don't know what he's going to do. My God, he can't be a part of no wrestling promotions. I mean, this guy is just a wild card. We've got to get away from him. So we're going to move the entire event so that he doesn't get involved, okay? The match happens. They're doing their thing. We already know what the outcome's going to be, which is the only reason why, if this was a paid pay-per-view, it makes you not want to purchase it. But okay.
We already know what the outcome's going to be. I thought you have been on this whole flagship of, hey, Moose is going to win this title. Hey, Swan's going to win the title. It's so you're admitting now that that Impact is never going to give up that title as long as Kenny Omega is still, doing his thing.
I've already talked about that. I have already admitted that Moose was going to lose just because of the storyline.
But let me ask you this question too. Like, I haven't watched it, but I've heard everybody talk about it. And they basically said your boy Moose paid a ticket for a wrestling clinic that Omega gave him. Is that true? Is that what I'm hearing? I heard he was outclassed in that ring. I don't know.
Sin City, go ahead. I seem like you want to.
I from all the reports that I read, it appeared as if the match was freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Moose was outclassed by any stretch. If anything, Moose put himself over in a huge way, despite not winning the championship. I think that, obviously the best outcome for Moose and for Impact would have been for him to win the championship. But, in spite of that, you still set up the main event for Slammiversary, being obviously Omega and Callahan.
Yeah. So Sami happened to be, he showed up on the show. Remember, they was trying to keep him from not showing, and somehow he showed up anyway.
Yep.
And after he came in and decided to put the beat down on some of the guys, he caught himself now being fired by Don Callis, apparently, who is, I guess, still an executive of
on camera. On camera,
yeah.
He's what we call camera buff. He's camera buff.
Well,
buff on camera, but not backstage.
So now he's fired, which now leaves Kenny, I guess, what? Because the whole premise, which is why I don't. Oh man,
why
did it's really simple booking. Tony Khan, who happened to be at the contract signing, and obviously that's where he pitched the idea for the match being at Daly's place. You have Tony Khan sign Sami Callihan to an AEW contract. You have the championship match being held at AEW's Daly's place again. And now fuck it. have Sami Callihan get the win and then defect back to Impact. Right there, you got your storyline problem solved.
You think they gonna? You think? Yeah.
Scott Khan has nothing to do with this. Khan can't sign the fucking match. He doesn't own the company. It's Scott D'Amore now who was pissed. He was there on commentary, which he never is. So, come on. So now Scott is mad at Callis because Callis fired Callahan. So you know what's going to happen, that, you know, somehow Callahan's getting his job back within the next couple of weeks. So that's the whole fucking runaround on this. It should have never been at Daly's Plaza. That's fucking stupid. The crowd was fucking hot. Oh, that's right. They were wrestlers.
Right.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing made no sense. And then, you know, I just happened, I was reading one of the websites that were just going over the results, and I just curious to see what some of the comments were. And two guys summed it up. The first one says, is anyone else completely sick of the same exact ending to every freaking match the Elite are involved in? Yeah. The other person says, why? That's why I don't even watch it. I think everyone knew how it would end, the same as it always ends, getting annoying. It just doesn't make sense, man. If anything now, it seemed like it's just killing off both companies, both promotions. You know what I mean? I mean, thank God Impact does have some other matches and storylines of interest that if you are a fan of the show, you at least can enjoy that. But in terms of this run for the title bullshit, it's like that you might as well just turn it off when that comes on.
Yeah.
So let me ask this question, Impact, because honestly, you know, Slammiversary is coming up. I don't watch Impact obviously enough. I was thinking about watching it, and I'm a person that's very reluctant to do so. How would you get me to buy in to watch Slammiversary? And I asked you, hey, Impact, what's been going on in Impact? Should I watch Slammiversary? What do you tell me?
Well, I think you definitely should, but you shouldn't. Why I went to the whole idea of saying the main event is what's supposed to get people to want to watch the show, right? It's not necessarily your undercards that's doing all the selling. It's your main event. But in terms of Impact, you can't rely on that anymore. So you have to like the X Division title run because you know you're going to get a good show there, or Deonna Purrazzo.
The knockout women's title.
Okay. Yeah, you know, or something. That is all you got right now because, you know, the whole title thing is just full of shit. So, and
of course, Slammiversary full of shit. That sounds like a repeating theme going on with AEW being involved in stuff. Is that the title matches are just full of shit.
You know, and I don't know if you guys happen to watch this past, if you get a chance, watch the clip this past Thursday leading up to the pay-per-view Saturday, but this was on Impact Wrestling. So Tony Khan was in the ring with Scott D'Amore and Don Callis. And dude, did anyone watch this? He was a straight, okay, you tell me, Sin City, was he just not a bore, Tony Khan? He was talking and yapping, and you're just looking at it going, what are you saying? I'm bored. I'm not entertained. You're not selling anything. Why are you on TV? I mean, he's not on the level, and granted, he shouldn't be on the level of Scott D'Amore or Don Callis. I give him that. Yeah. But that whole segment with him in there, to me, brought the entire segment down, which is what they were trying to build the case of why they were doing what they were doing for this show.
I think honestly, Impact, and I'm not saying this to, you know, twist the dagger or anything, but I think that you are already not a fan of AEW to begin with. And for
come on, you're defending Tony Khan in that promo.
No, I'm not. Just let me fucking talk.
Yeah.
Let me fucking talk. Let me make a fucking point.
Yeah.
All right. No, man. Like legitimately, like the fact of it is this, like, I didn't necessarily see too much wrong with that segment, but the fact that, I mean, that's the only thing that I can figure is that there was something there with, you know, your however you feel about AEW and the championship and things like that. I personally, I didn't have too much of a problem necessarily with that segment. Yes, I definitely noticed the difference between Tony Khan as opposed to Scott D'Amore without question. And that's apparent to anybody.
But let me put it this way, Stacey. So when Tony does his promos, the paid advertisements, those were like, okay, they wasn't bad. I mean, he you know, when you're doing those, you can, you know, I guess, stop as many times as you want and record it till you get it to sound the way you want it.
Right.
They're okay. I don't have a problem with that. But in this manner, and it's not like they were live, but in this manner in the ring, he just seemed like he was totally out of place. You know, when you have your promoters get in there, you know, we expect Vince to come in there with this I guess, gravitas and just say what he says and do what he does. Same thing with Scott D'Amore, same thing with Callis, same thing with Paul Heyman. But Tony, in his position, seemed like he could not sell what it is that they were trying to do. And he almost talked for 1 minute straight, and it was more like blah, 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 blah. I mean, you got to go back and listen to this. If I can, I'll try to even play some clips of it on the show if I do a recording on things that's on my mind, because it was, I'm asking myself, like, why do they even have him there? Like, he should have had a representative. Maybe he had Tony Schiavone go up there and do it instead, but he was horrible in that ring.
Yeah.
You know,
I would be cool with anybody else really representing AEW, like have Tony Schiavone or something of that nature. Yeah, I think that
fucking admit that the promo sucked.
Tony Khan's promo sucked. Okay, there you go. I'll fucking admit it. He sucked on the live promo.
That's all you had to agree on. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just...
It wasn't an attack on AEW. It's an attack on the fact that Tony Khan is not a good performer and should never have been in front of a fucking TV screen at all at this point. Hey, get your fucking cards in deck. Then what are you arguing with DJ about? He's making a great point. And that point is that Tony Khan was there to sell the pay-per-view, and he didn't, because it's not his company. He's taking Impact.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with that. And you know, I just don't know. I don't know. It's just disappointing because there's a lot there. And I was really, when we first got word of this happening, it was like, man, this is going to be something that could become great, even though we didn't know exactly how it would be, because we couldn't even think of necessarily dream matches. But that doesn't still mean that this was going to be done correctly. You know, you have the Good Brothers, which apparently are the only ones that show up on AEW. You know, I mean, Moose didn't even show up at no times. Why does Kenny Omega show up on Impact? It's the shit that bothers me, man. And it just, and I don't know. I know that there has to be an agreement between two companies. I just don't know why Scott D'Amore, if I'm putting the blame on him, would agree to the shit that I guess AEW came with him, or Tony Khan came with him with. Because I don't see how this is now benefiting them. At first, it was like, okay, the first pay-per-view, maybe they were getting some buys and they were getting some looks, because again, it was Rich Swann, despite the fact they're making him look like shit now, he was their champion, and he was showing to be a great defending Impact World Champion. I mean, he defeated Moose. You know, he's defeated others to retain that title. So maybe there was a chance with the whole Kenny Omega. I didn't fully buy into this whole line that Kenny Omega is going to truly be this belt collector. But now that I'm sold that that's what his whole purpose is, you know, I just don't like what they're doing with this. And really, I think from this point, they should just kill it. Have their relationships with New Japan, and both of them, if they want to do that. At least Impact's doing a good job with their relationship with New Japan. I don't know where so anyway, you guys, I know we've been talking about this. We're going to jump over into some WWE talk, but I'm just telling you, it's those who's fans of our show know that I am a fan. I'm really trying to give all of this I'm trying to give all this a chance, and it just gets more and more annoying. There's no reason why the Young Bucks, that it should have been them getting, or anyone getting involved in this match. And if that was the case, you might. All right, never mind. I don't want this to be my show. It's our show, and I'm doing more of the talking. Let's jump over the Raw, guys.
I was actually excited. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained.
No, this is not.
Speak your mind, brother. Speak your mind.
No, let's move over to Raw, and you guys tell me what your take on. I know they did start the show off with some tag team qualifying matches to see who would fight AJ Styles and almost. I will say that I did kind of like a little bit of the banter before all of that got started, but I don't know. What's you guys' take on Raw in general?
It was cool. I mean, I like the way that it kind of started off. Some of the banter was pretty okay. I mean, obviously it's cute when you have Team RK Bro, doing the whole key thing. I mean, but I mean the match overall was good. It was a good match. I liked it. It led up to some stuff after the end, which I wanted to get to with regards to Kofi Kingston and MVP later on.
I wanted to ask a question because I and maybe you guys could tell me because I'm sure y'all. I'm tripping out, and I should have just rewinded and rewatched it, but I was confused. So, at what point did Riddle get knocked out of that match? Because at the point I saw, if I remember correctly, Kingston did one of his, I think, Trouble in Paradise moves onto, I want to say, it was onto Orton, which I think got Orton out, but it seems like that Riddle just kind of rolled out of the ring. Was he already thrown out, and that's the reason why? Because
yeah, he had already been eliminated. He saw Kofi setting up for the Trouble in Paradise, and basically the announcers portrayed it like as if he was taking the bullet for Randy. So that way Randy didn't get hit with the Trouble in Paradise, but then he still got thrown out. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was just really confused at that because I didn't see where Riddle got thrown out, and I didn't even. Yeah, I just saw him roll out, and they was like, "Well, that's the end." I'm like, "Wait."
I believe he got thrown out by Xavier Woods.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, to keep their kind of feud going, I think that's what happened.
Okay. All right. Outside of that, man, anything else? I know we want to talk about probably towards the end of that. I guess y'all boy Jackson Riker got a new look.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a push. He's definitely getting a push, I feel.
I don't care.
I mean, not a major push, but I think he's getting a push.
Yeah.
They're grooming him.
Whatever.
They're grooming him. But you know what?
You mean the balding Matt Cardona? Tell me he doesn't look like a balding Matt Cardona. Seriously.
No, he does. Spot on. You know what sucks though? I'm gonna be real with you. I followed him back when he was on TNA, and he was a lot more exciting a long time ago. Right now, he is bland as shit. He is bland as shit. And I don't know if just because of WWE's, what they got him locked in, whatever. But when he was in TNA, yes, Gunner, his ass was on fire. He was just pure energy, entertaining to watch. He was getting in a lot of different matchups. I was hoping much of the same at WWE, but we've all been there. Man, is where I'm at with that one. Like the haircut, though. But that's about it.
You like the haircut? Okay.
That's all I can give you, boy.
So let's go ahead, man.
Oh, no, and I said it a little bit earlier. I just want to see what y'all guys thought about the exchange between Kofi Kingston and MVP. It had that short little segment where, right. MVP kind of said, look, you were one of the main reasons why I got back. And that's on tape, where when Kofi Mania Happy won his championship, there was a huge segment with MVP, crying and everything. He was with Shad, and they had a moment, so there was some truth behind it. And so I'm wondering where WWE's going to go with it. I don't know. I'm sure Matt Michaels has the prophesizing of where that's probably going to go. But I thought it was interesting exchange.
Would you be mad if somehow Kofi ends up with MVP as his manager?
I wouldn't be tripping.
Oh, they should. It's by time that they got done with the New Day shit.
Yeah.
I agree.
you separated them on shows, and it's like, Big E barely has gotten out of that shadow, and these guys are still living it. I'd fucking have Kofi just go ape shit on Woods. Or if you want to get clever, have Woods betray Kofi and go with the Hurt Business. Woods could use that more than Kofi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Either that's or, true. It would be good. I would like to see Kofi go heel. I don't think we've ever seen Kofi go heel. Not that I can remember. I could be wrong. The closest I ever saw him have an edge was when, he was going back and forth with Randy Orton a while back, but that's about it. I can't really remember. I know that when New Day first started, they were kind of like heels a little bit. But
they tried the heel stuff and it didn't get over.
Exactly. It wasn't convincing enough. But I've never seen
that first year was a heel. First year was about a heel. Yeah.
But it was
when he had the Jamaican accent and stuff. Yeah. I think that he was initially brought in as a heel.
Yeah. But it would be good now. I mean, obviously, if we're sitting here thinking about it for half a minute, when was he heel last? It's time to see Kofi heel. Definitely. I'd be up for it. And it's done wonders for everybody else. Look, Roman, Bailey. I mean, who else? I mean, some people.
Well, if he would get with MVP, he pretty much going to have to become heel.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So, hey.
I'm digging it. I'm ready for it.
Although the backfire could be if he goes with the Hurt Business, that might then derail it to make them face just because of fan reaction, right? That's what sucks with when they do these things. And that's why I think Xavier, it would be more surprising.
Woods would benefit more from the heel turn, and it would be a swerve. And I think that you make a great point there. And quite frankly, Xavier Woods is younger than Kofi, so they would get more mileage out of the new character arc for Xavier Woods for sure.
And real talk, when the entourage come out, there's about 3 or 4 young ladies. You could put, Xavier in between 2 of them. He can handle it. we know he can handle it.
Are you taking a page out of his book?
I would say a page, maybe.
Oh man, well, good stuff, man. Let's go right to the main event. Hey, what do you think, Alexa Bliss, Shayna?
Not real. It's not real.
You're not feeling it. Let me just say this. I don't have a problem with this particular storyline. Let me tell you what I want. I want to see the badass Shayna that we saw in NXT. I want to see her have that run in Raw. And I do think that at some point, hopefully, that will happen. But at the moment, I guess they are doing something else with her, with this, which is this. And I don't know where this is going to go, because it's not like she's going to beat Alexa Bliss and their rivalry as such, although we know she could. So I don't know if maybe after this run, and I don't know if Alexa's going to make her, after they have their match, she disappears, and when she does reappear, she'll be badass Shayna again, or what. But for what it is now, I mean,
or what if she is just going to be Alexa Bliss in a little ragdoll enforcer? You might get your wish of a badass Shayna Baszler, but she'll just be like an enforcer. She'll just be, muscle that's going to go through and tear shit up. Maybe, I don't know. There's not much you can do with this.
Well, I think there's a lot of things you can do with this.
Well, please elaborate, young sir.
Well, I don't know about enforcer per se. That's always a possibility. But the thing is what we've seen so far from the progression of interactions between the Fiend and everyone that the Fiend has come across with, right? There was a darker turn to these people. And with this allows you to somehow use that idea of, black magic, black arts, to bring out that killer in Shayna as a possibility,
And like I say, if that's where they go, I don't see a problem with that, because, dude, I would love for her just to wreck shop. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would love that.
Well, it's a lot better than having her paired up with Nia Jax. That should have been it 2-3 months ago. And it's no disrespect to Nia Jax or Shayna Baszler. I just felt like, to me, that was not believable. I felt like those two are dominant on their own. So to put them together, I felt like WWE did not pull the trigger. Besides, we're not talking about them. I'm saying I hope exactly what you're saying, Impact. Please. Because Shayna Baszler is too good to just have her.
I also think that if Shayna would have been this badass, and she would have, from the time she started in Raw up to, I don't know, another year or two, and she's now ran through everyone or whatever the case may be, just winning the title, beaten down. At some point now, do fans get tired of seeing that and want to see her, have a different type of persona in some way? And if so, eventually what we're seeing now is what we were going to see a year or two later. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is either we will maybe see badass Shayna first, or we're going to see badass Shayna later. Either or, I'm hoping is getting back to it. Maybe they didn't want to go that way because she just ran that storyline through NXT and didn't want to do that through Raw, but she's going to have it later. But no matter what.
Wait, let's get out this notion about anything related to NXT having anything to do with the main roster.
Yeah, they separated. It's like a whole different bag of nuts.
Yeah, Vince probably had no fucking idea that she was a dominant fucking heel in NXT. I think that
you don't watch it.
Yeah. It what could very well happen is this somehow, like you said, DJ, leads to Shayna disappearing. And if she's gone, then after a couple of months, there's a chance she resurfaces in NXT.
Wow.
Oh,
which would be good for her. I mean, it wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of question. I think that that's a very real possibility.
Which isn't bad. That might be a good career move. Be real talk to, because right now NXT is the place, the best women's division in the world.
Well, it's also not a career move. It would be Hunter basically salvaging her. It's not her choice.
True. True.
These guys.
I'd rather see her there, honestly.
These guys don't have a chance to say A, B, or C to where they go. So it's a possibility that something like that happens. It's more of the style that she's good with, in terms of it's not sports entertainment to its grandiose as the main roster is. They've also not taken the opportunity to do things like Becky versus Shayna in a real tough matchup type of thing. That would be an interesting thing. So you also do have possibilities if she gets reintroduced at some point into the system, to have some legitimate pushes. But the problem, there's a couple problems. The first problem is that everyone and their mother on social media has to hate almost everything, right?
Yeah, because even after that segment, they're like, "Oh, that's so stupid. It's magic. It's just stupid." And oh, look at the pyro. Look at this. Is so. Oh, yeah. Which is why I can't wait till we get to our 3 count, because I think Triple H makes a pretty good point, just to kind of get you guys who listened to 3 Count, because he kind of mentions that, and I kind of agree exactly what he was saying. But go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry about that.
No. I mean that's very much along the lines, which is a whole other thing too. Again, that's the difference between Vince controlling WWE and what happens on the main roster, and Hunter controlling what's going on in NXT.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
If Shayna Baszler goes to NXT, all I got to say is Martinez, Baszler, team. Rec Shop, tag team. I'm just, you might be like, whatever. I'm just saying, I want to see them two get together and just kick ass all day. Whatever you got to do. It's just a wish list, all right?
The problem is that they're like, Shayna is just over 40, and Shelly's, I think, just Mercedes is just like short of 50 now, right? She's up there, right?
50. She got to be at least 44. She got to be 44. How old is she? Let's look that up. Real talk. And if she is that old, fucking shout out to her ass, because she badass.
Oh, DJ, say something, because now I have to do the work instead of
Simon. Do the work. Do the work. Do the work, bro. Do the work.
Well, listen, I like I say, I really don't have a problem. I know it's a different.
Christ. I'm sorry, DJ. Sure. She's going to be 41 this year, and holy fuck, that's a tough 41. I urge, especially you, Simon, go onto the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
And this is a picture of her from 2016. Man, 5 years has not been very kind to her. It's a rough.
So mean. You are so mean.
No, serious, man. I'd say that about anyone.
I'm gonna let you eat all of that, but I'm gonna look it up though, just because you said it.
I ain't eating anything. I mean, it's honest, man.
Hey, not everybody ages the same, sir.
Oh yeah, definitely true in her case.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, prove my point. I didn't care what they look like. I'm saying, as far as a badass tag team, I would love to see that. I'm just saying, I'd love to see that. Them go through, just whoop ass, smash mouth, because both of them have a smash mouth type of style. And speaking of which, we were talking about Shayna Baszler, and I know later on we'll get into In Your House. Something similar happened with Martinez. Almost the same type of way, it was done a little bit differently. I'm sure we'll have some opinions about that as well.
Well, listen, I mean, again, I don't have a problem so far with the storyline that they're running with this. It's interesting. It's different. And I mean, Alexa Bliss, I mean, she's selling the shit. I mean, you can almost look at her and be like, yeah, she's kind of crazy. And with that really helps sell it. I don't know if everyone would be capable of doing that, but she's knocking out of the park with this ragdoll, So, yeah.
What's her name? Lily? Is it Lily?
Yeah, it's Lily.
Lily. Yeah. You better say her name right, or she's gonna be under your bed.
By the way, go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I
was just gonna say, I'm just hoping and praying that this storyline has some sort of a decent conclusion for Shayna. I was turned off by this particular segment. But I feel that Shayna has been horrendously underused on the main roster. And I've said that from the beginning. I think a lot of us have. And ultimately, I think that, as long as everything shakes out in the end, then I'll be happy. But, for me, the jury is still out on this as a whole. I did not like this segment. It gave me a lot of Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake kind of vibes for some reason. Just really kind of, if you think back to their feud that they had, very short feud in WWF back in the day. I don't know. It didn't click with me. But that's not for me to shit can the entire angle. I hope that, that it's not all one-sided and that Shayna actually does get some sort of, comeuppance. And, of course she's things like this. Who's necessarily the heel? Again, we're dealing with shades of gray. but you know, I really don't want to see, you know, Shayna getting essentially tormented week in and week out and just, you know, getting, for lack of a better term, you know, buried, even though, you know, whatever. But I just really want for them to press the reset button with Shayna Baszler. So maybe if this serves to that end and gets her off TV for a while, allows her to get, you know, back into NXT or somewhere else, and allows her to essentially rebrand herself, then I'm cool with it. She's just been criminally underused.
Yep. Yeah, because
I'm sorry, DJ, to cut you off there, but this, you know, here's the very interesting thing, and you would have never thought a number of years ago that you would ever say this about the women, but it's the same problem that they have with the guys, and that is this: they have a lot of talent, but they only have X amount of TV, and unfortunately, when you look at utilization and pushes and et cetera, you know, the whole thing comes down to, you have Charlotte, you have Asuka, you have Rhea, you have, you know, Bayley, you have Bianca, you have Sasha. You have a problem fitting in the pegs into what is there. Your tag team champions right now are Natty and Tamina, and that really is just a gift to Tamina right now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the truth of the matter is that no matter, you know, we can look at the whole roster from top to bottom, and you can go, well, they don't utilize this person right, or they don't do this person right, or this person is, you know, so-so, or this person's phenomenal, they're missing the boat. The fact of the matter is that the problem with trying to push everyone is that you're always going to have 50% agree and 50% disagree.
I think the biggest problem is the fact that if Vince McMahon really, as you guys say, and I've come to believe what everyone's been said by now, just doesn't follow what's going on, that right there becomes sort of the biggest problem, because you should have some sort of idea on, you know, who this person that you're bringing over.
Okay, so who does Shayna replace? TV time. Who does Shayna replace? You're using her as that top heel she was in NXT. Who does she replace?
Now, are you talking about on the timeline of when she came back in? Initially, or just in general?
I'm answering DJ's question. Mm-hmm. If Vince McMahon watched the product and brought her up as she was in NXT, who does she replace? Period.
Well, if she would have been brought up, then she would have been the dominant heel on the show at the moment.
Who does she replace?
I think she replaced Nia Jax. Why would she be? I'll say Nia Jax.
Why would she be?
No, you guys are missing. You guys are missing it. You have Charlotte Flair, you have Bayley, you have Becky, you have Ronda, you have Sasha, you have Bianca now, you have Rhea.
Okay,
who
but Matt,
does she replace?
She don't replace anybody. You fit her in a rotation.
Yeah, but listen, the bottom line is
you only have so much TV time. One of those people have to go down and be in the role Shayna was in. You can't have everyone is the top person.
True.
I know, true.
But that's not what I was talking about, Spur. I'm realistic with Shayna Baszler. I'm not expecting her to be cream of the crop, top of the hill. But I am saying that she was not, I feel, that she wasn't properly utilized, and they put her in this dumb shit. Now that's just my opinion, okay? But what I am saying is that it would have been better to beef her ass up and to have like, okay, yeah, have one of your faces go up against her.
Once again, who does she replace?
Say the names again. Say the names again. I'll tell you who. I'll tell you who. Say
you're looking at TV time. Dude, I've given you like 10 names. You have, sorry, audience, I'm going to have to repeat this again because everyone's a little thick-headed right now. We've got Charlotte. We've got Becky. We've got Sasha. I thought you love women's wrestling.
I do. So I want to hear you say all the names. Just say all the names. Come on. We have 4.
Correct. You have, the 4 horsewomen. There you go. Okay. You've got Ronda Rousey. Okay.
She's not there no more. She took Ronda.
You've got. She is still under contract, dude.
She's also pregnant.
It doesn't. So was Becky. I'm putting her name in this too.
Okay.
I'm talking the top people.
Okay.
All right. You also have Asuka. You have Rhea. You have you have Bianca.
So what I'm saying, only thing that I'm saying is this. I get what you're breaking down. I get that. All I'm saying, when that goes back to when I say I think it's important for Vince to know what he's getting, is because how do you take somebody who's dominant in NXT and they come over to not be dominant, to not come off the way that they left, as if they're lesser.
Ask Asuka.
But that's very true. It took her about a year and a half even to get to where she's at now.
And even more than a year and a half.
I think it was like 2 years.
She's lost twice to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Charlotte Flair. That's what I'm talking about, DJ. Charlotte Flair. You're going to tell me that you're going to have Shayna Baszler come in and be the character she was. She beats Charlotte Flair. There's no way. There's no way, because that's Vince's crown jewel. That's the problem. The problem is, look, as much as we love Zoe Stark gets called up on that main roster. She's in the position Shayna's in right now.
Yep.
As much as you might like.
Well, I think what that
Gonzalez or Martinez or anyone down there.
So listen, either one or two things, Dan. Either that's doing a disservice overall to how we are watching them come from one stage to the other, or as they're giving these different and new assignments, new characters, we don't then beat them down as much as like Shayna's being beat down at the moment because of this storyline.
But see, that's it. That's the whole thing. Fans are fickle. And again, it's the same thing that happens with the men, right? If you're going to elevate Adam Cole, you bring him up tonight and you're going to elevate him, you have to take away either Roman Reigns, Seth, now apparently Drew or Lashley, who I gladly would trade for Adam Cole.
I would say Drew in a heartbeat. Drew.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lashley as
well. Take your motherfucking sword too.
These guys are, they're just, but that's the thing. If you're going to have the people at the top, which they always are going to have, you do have to replace them. And coming up from NXT, that's a problem. It's a problem because of the fact that you have to not only fit the character they're giving you. That's fine. That's going to be, in some cases, it's going to be absolutely shitty. All right. But you also have to take into consideration that you have to be able to make sure that you can sell the same amount of T-shirts and tickets and, hot dogs.
They're going to replace them.
You have to be able to be at that level. And that's why it takes forever for people to break through at the top level. There's just not enough space. For as much TV time as they have, there's not enough space.
Well, there definitely is a holding pattern. I will admit that. There's definitely a holding pattern. Some people have been able to kind of be more fortunate than others. So, yeah, I agree with you.
And look, if you want to look at AEW, the same thing's starting to happen there.
Definitely.
Yep. True. So, it's very true. You got to wait your time. Be on standby.
And with that, let's move right over.
Real quick, I got to stop you. No. I got to stop you real quick, only because I was going to say it. Real quick, we've been neglecting some of the people in the chat. All right. He had Chris Gale that said in the chat, If The Miz can survive a zombie attack, they can press the reset button on Baszler. That's a fact. We hope, because, you know. And then this is a side note, Chant. We actually did, while we were doing the show, for some of us, watch Takeover. So, because, you know. And then and apparently I'm hearing myself in echo, which is pretty amazing. I have that power now. Go ahead, Mr. Impact.
Let's transition to AEW, Sin City Steve.
All right, sounds good. All right, guys. So a couple of things that really kind of stood out from this show. I don't know. I really want to get a feel for those of you guys that watched the show. How did you feel about the Angelico and Christian Cage match that started off the show? Are you guys familiar with Angelico? Had you seen too much of his work, or was this kind of like an eye-opener for you guys?
Well, let me be completely honest with you. I had company over at the house this weekend who's more familiar with some of the talent than I am. And as this match was on, as I was watching it, I was asking, why is Angelico in this match? Who is he and why should I care?
Yep. And
the family member was trying to explain that to me as far in terms of but after even explaining that, I still didn't understand as to why why he was having this match. Watching the match was all right. It was nothing wrong with what I was watching, but in terms of why do I care to see him? You know what I mean? Because I don't know anything about it. And if he's someone who's mostly on dark, well, so then why put him then on this particular show if nobody? So this is part of the problem I've been having with AEW, is this constant moving around, moving people here, moving people there, and not getting enough to get to learn who these people are and figuring out why they're in the position that they're in. So that's kind of how I looked at the match. I mean, I looked at it and it was great, but I'm like, I don't know what he is, whatever.
Okay, perfect. No, yeah. and honestly, like that was what I was looking for. Because at first glance, I thought, well, Angelico, why the hell is he in here against Christian Cage? And why did this match go 9 minutes? But realistically, of course, Angelico has had a pretty solid career. And he's definitely somebody that I view as being a sleeper talent on their roster. But you hit the nail right on the head. They've done absolutely zero to get people interested in guys like Angelico, guys like Jack Evans. And it really sucks that these guys that are extremely talented, they just throw them out there like as if they're job guys. So obviously perception is reality 90% of the time. So you have people flipping through the channels. Who's this weird guy that's doing these crazy submission type moves? They don't know who he is. They don't have any kind of, for lack of a better term, respect for this guy and what he's done. So right out of the gate, I think Dynamite got off on a little bit of a bad foot. Personally, I thought this match was good. I thought it was a very solid match. But again, I'm familiar with Angelico. I'm familiar with the stuff that he's done in the ring. So I had no qualms, no problems with it. But as I was on social media, there were, more than a few people that were just wondering why the hell did Christian wrestle this jobber for 9 minutes? So I think that right out of the gate, AEW, they just proved what one of the biggest issues with their roster is, in that they, much like WWE, they have too many people on the roster. I'm hoping that with the additional hour of time that they're going to start soon, that they can at least flesh out some of these characters, but it remains to be seen.
You got a good point too, Steve. One of the problems that I have with them signing the WWE talent, not so much a guy like Andrade, right? Andrade's got the future in front of him. Put put money in. But if you're going to give money to a guy like Christian, and then you're already, setting up Christian and Hardy, like, fuck that. And that goes to that whole point of who do you bump? And Christian obviously took spots because the money they gave him from guys that they could develop. So
exactly. And that's really an unfortunate thing. I mean, I'm genuinely hoping that, this WCW 2000 speed run that Tony Khan is engaging in ends pretty soon, because it is. In me being the resident AEW mark on the show, I shouldn't have to be the one to point that shit out, but I'm going to call out stuff when I see it, because it's all about integrity for me. So yeah, again, I didn't have a problem with the show opener. I thought the show got off to a great start with that match. And quite frankly, Christian working that type of a match, and it was a technically sound match, and he's been doing it every single week. It's almost like as if Christian is kicking off the show every week and giving us a solid match with which to use as a springboard for the rest of the show. But again, he's taking up a spot, which is something that he point blank said in his entry promo that he did not want to do. So they're burning the candle at both ends, and that's not going to last them too long. Yeah, what's up?
I was going to ask the question, much like I asked Impact. Now, I don't really watch a lot of Impact, but I do watch a little bit of AEW when I can. Okay. But just like Impact, I really want to get back to regularly watching AEW. But every time I get in, it's a lot. It's exciting. It's exciting when I see, what happened at this past show with the Pinnacle, and the Inner Circle. I get excited, but then it's just so fucking much. And I'm like, what the fuck? Do you feel like a lot of other people feel that way? Like they want to jump in, but it's just so much going on?
I think so. I think that it's daunting. It's something that, for new viewers that might literally be flipping through the channels and they stop and they see, oh, well, it's wrestling. It's this, it's Christian. I remember him from WWE back in the day. I'm going to check this out. And then they hang around for a segment or two. They see what all's going on, and just boom, 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 boom. You've got this almost Crash TV type of a booking. And yeah, it's a sensory overload for a lot of people. And I think that they're trying to do a lot, and realistically, they don't need to. I don't want to obviously spoil 3 Count, but it's going to be one of those things where I think AEW, when they first set out, they said that they weren't going to be a direct competition with WWE, that they were strictly looking to be an alternative to WWE. But strangely enough, it seems more and more like as if they're inching in that direction, like as if they're trying to put themselves out there to be competition for WWE, and they don't need to. The fact of it is they don't need to compete with WWE because they're cornering a large number of viewers that left WWE for one reason or another. So they don't have to win over that audience. I don't know if that's quite clicking for them. They don't have to bring audience over from WWE. A lot of people are going to go to AEW naturally just based on what they've seen from WWE in the past. Those lapsed fans, those fans that are disgruntled with, how so-and-so's been used. Perfect example. We'll see what happens with Andrade. I know that a lot of people were pissed off with the way that Andrade was used, or how he was misused in WWE. We're going to see how AEW uses Andrade, and we're going to see if things end up the same or even relatively close. So,
you know what, real quick, let's take a quick moment. A couple of people popped up on the chat and probably directed towards you, Sin City. Shant had a question kind of, I think, more geared towards you. Here's the big question for you guys. What do you think? You think booking? Do you think booking could be the possible problem? I think you kind of already answered that question. It popped up earlier. And then also, too, John actually said a good comment. AEW also said from the start that they didn't want to hire a bunch of WWE talent. And we are definitely freaking seeing that.
Yeah. And
It's
ultimately,
funny what Coke will make you do.
Yeah, Coke is something special.
I think AEW honestly right now is going through a little bit of an identity crisis, because they're saying that they want to do one thing, but their actions are proving another. And that's a real, that can set them up for disaster, as opposed to setting them up for success. As far as the booking goes, I think that you are probably running into an issue where there may be too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will. And if you've got so many people booking certain things and so many people trying to throw in, their 2 cents here and there, it can get very convoluted. It can muddy the waters for a lot of people. Obviously, creative with any professional wrestling company is a very, very, very fine line that you have to walk. But at the same time, I think that they can course correct. They've been in business for 2 years. They haven't gone too far into the deep end where it's too late for them to circle back and to, get back on the path, if you will. So I really genuinely hope that now that fans are starting to get back in the stands and now that things are starting to get back to normal, that we can have a normal wrestling show with AEW Dynamite and then also with AEW Rampage whenever that drops. But I we'll see what happens. I have no problem saying that out of the weekly wrestling shows, I enjoy watching AEW Dynamite more than any of the other shows during the week. That has not changed, but
Even with
it's definitely decreased. It used to be one of those things where I would have to watch AEW live every single week, and I would have to watch it right away as it's going on. Quite frankly, the last couple of weeks, no. As long as I get to it and watch it, then I can say that I watched it, and that's cool. But it's pretty sad that it's fallen for me as much as it has.
Well, from the chat, for you, Sin City Steve, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yes, it is. I wouldn't know, but anyway. Up next, speaking of cocaine, the Pinnacle had a promo, and they were some angry individuals. Call it what you want. Having all 5 members of the Pinnacle in the ring, cutting 5 distinct promos where they all kind of stepped out in front into the center of the shot. I was like, okay, this seems kind of wonky, but I'm just, more than anything, I'm just hoping that this shit ends somewhat soon. Because the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle, I get it. I understand that they're trying to, get to an ending point where they can definitively say that this faction won the feud. But, fuck, can we just get there, please? I mean, from, MJF, obviously, without question, is one of the best promos in the business. The guy's 25 years old, 26 years old, whatever the hell he is. He has his entire future ahead of him. And he's already at the top of the food chain. I would say the head of the table, but that's the wrong company. But no, he's definitely in AEW. He is the best guy on the mic. And dare I say, he is top 3 out of the entire wrestling world on the mic right now. Mm-hmm. And he continues to prove it week in and week out. Just solid work. And then, of course, you had yet again more parking lot destruction with the Inner Circle destroying the limo, which obviously was a good visual. But yeah, I mean, just can we end this soon, please? That's all I want to know.
Wasn't that shot that they had of all of them after the aftermath, all putting their middle fingers up? You have Guevara on the top of the limo. That was, you know what? Put that on a T-shirt. I'll buy that bitch. I'll buy it.
There you go. And it was cool in the moment, but like I said, I really just want this feud over. I really want this feud to end.
You know what though? That is a question though. Was it cool in the moment though? Because if you really look at it, why? I mean, we literally just saw them go through two of the most brutal bloodbath death match type stuff. And now you destroyed a new limo. Oh, that's going to get you mad?
Where do we go from here?
Exactly, yeah.
That's the only thing. Michaels.
Somebody got to die. Somebody got to die.
You may have just been extremely prophetic when you were, when you said what you did a few weeks back, saying that the ultimate conclusion to this is to literally put them into two monster trucks on the roof of a building. But we could very well be getting to that point.
Oh God.
We could be getting there.
Well, look, if they book that shit, I think their numbers will be up because I want to see that shit.
There you go. Speaking of numbers being up, Tony Schiavone stands mid-ring, talks about the June 26th Kenny Omega versus Jungle Boy match for the AEW title. I'm a fan of Jungle Boy, man. I like what they're doing. I love the fact that they're continuing to build him. And I would be completely fine if I don't think that they're going to pull the trigger this soon and have him win the title on the 26th of June. But I would be completely fine if they had Jungle Boy be the one to take the title off of Kenny Omega. I would be completely good with it. And realistically, someone like a Jungle Boy needs to be the person that beats him. We don't need to have a Christian Cage beat him or a WWE cast-off or retread. They need to have one of their homegrown guys, people that when they look at this person, that they automatically identify them as, hey, I've never seen him before except for on this show. That's what needs to happen. They don't need to, obviously they gave the TNT championship to Miro, who looked very strong in his TNT defense against Evil Uno. But dude, like they have to spotlight their guys while they have them. Because as we have said numerous times, they're going to lose a few of their originals when the contract time comes up. That's how it's going to be. They really need to put the main title on Jungle Boy at some point. He's got the call and response theme music now, and
okay, that's enough.
I love it.
That's enough.
You know what? I'm gonna call you later, and I'm gonna do it right when you answer the phone, just because you said that.
Don't do it on the show anymore, just because we can't pay.
Yeah.
I only did like 5 seconds. It's 15 seconds. Then we pay. Then we pay at 15 seconds.
No, you know what, Steve, you got a great point, and I think Jungle Boy is great. And at some point, Hal give him the TNT title for a while. But if you're going to pull the trigger, you were building up Darby. Then you had Darby get destroyed by Miro. So how do you? It really does not make any sense. And if you break up this, what we just talked about in the two factions going against each other, why wouldn't Sammy Guevara be someone that you could elevate to that level? It's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I ultimately would like to believe that they're in somewhat of a holding pattern, waiting for crowds to be back, and they start touring again. And for all we know, that's what they're doing. But the sooner that they get out and start touring, the better, so that we can put this pandemic era of wrestling, I don't want to say behind us, but just put it in the rear view mirror so that we can still look back if need be and remember the things that we liked about it. But we don't need to revisit it every single fucking week like what we have for over a year and a half. I think that really has stunted AEW's growth to some extent as well. Elsewhere on the show, obviously, I mean, you had You had your main event of Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage against Hangman Adam Page and 10 Preston Vance from the Dark Order. Speaking of somebody that they should build around, Adam Page. How many times have we said that they need to do something with Hangman Adam Page? They haven't for whatever fucking reason. So I don't know. Obviously, you had Hangman and 10 pick up the win after the buckshot lariat on Will Hobbs. Yeah, great. It was what it needed to be. There was some dissension, and finally, let's hope that we get the final fucking payoff where we're going to have Brian Cage break away from Team Taz. How long have they been breaking up? It's almost like as if it's been the Bayley Sasha Banks bullshit retreaded from WWE. 1 week they're together, 1 week they hate each other, 1 week they hate each other, 1 week they love each other. What the fuck?
Relationship problems, man. It's relationship problems.
You know what? You know what's even more fun? It has on commentary. Because he has an invested and when Cage walked in, it's like you up and throw your headset down and go and fucking run there and now. So if he doesn't care, why should I care?
Exactly. Just again, end that shit. Let everybody else move on. Have your blow off between Starks. Hopefully the next good so that they can get this going. Because obviously that's where it's going. All Out needs to be a match between Cage and Starks once and for all. End it. Just have one match and be done. Don't have him go through the entire Team Taz roster, which he's going to. I can already tell that they're going to set everything up to where Taz is going to have him go through every single member of Team Taz. I mean, we've seen it over and over, but Brian Cage is, again, someone else that really, we need to take a look at this because he is extremely good. There's nobody that looks like him anywhere in any promotion.
Yep.
I mean, he's a very unique talent with all of the skill that he has. For him to be stuck doing this horse shit, I don't know.
Facts.
Nonetheless, definitely, I thought that this was a good episode of Dynamite. Definitely better than last week, but they definitely have a ways to go to get back to where they were at one point. And who knows, maybe they are just, phoning it in on the nights where they're preempted and have to work on Fridays, just realizing that they're not going to have good audience. But I don't know. That's not a smart business move to do that.
Gotcha. Thank you, Sin City. Appreciate it. Let's jump over into SmackDown. And the only thing I want to say about SmackDown is that I enjoyed the show top to bottom.
Thank you.
I thought it was just a phenomenal show, man. I was like, wow. I was entertained. Man. Great matches, seeing Liv do the move off that ring off of a Carmella. I mean, it was just amazing. The host, I knew when Seth and Bayley Bayley was going to be in there, it was just going to be a clown show, and it was just great.
Make you lose your
everything.
pants.
I'm even joining, and I remember we used to when we used to have other members of our group shit on Chad Gable. Chad is even just great to see and holding his own down. He's always been a good wrestler, but now he's even, just hands down, man. I was trying to figure where was the weak part of the show. If you had to make one, I guess Shinsuke and Corbin, but I mean, even that, go ahead, Mike, because I just wanted to say I hadn't seen a show in a while from top to bottom, and I'm not going to talk about the man himself that made the show, but just highlighting everything around that. Good stuff, man.
It's interesting. So just going up and down, I just scrolled again just to look and make sure. And, the only thing that I just don't care for is Rey Mysterio. Just in general, I think that Rey is just kind of, again, it goes to that theory of who do you replace. Now, granted, Rey's going to be a sacrifice at Hell in a Cell to Roman. And there's probably going to be a lot of, fuckery going on with that. And okay, Dominic gets in, swings a couple kendo shots, but man, when you looked at Roman and his body versus Dominic and his body, it's just sad. It's just like, oh my God, he you could feel for Rey because it's like, yeah, that is child abuse because that's all the kid is. He's a kid. So I mean, that I think is, that's the only questionable thing is, it's really a filler match to have them do something. And I don't think Roman and Rey have really ever worked a program. I don't know if Rey has ever done a Hell in a Cell match, so that might have been on bucket list too. So
probably, yeah.
But outside of that, Bailey and Seth just fucking stole the show with that segment, and then Cesaro. Of course, it's going to be Cesaro at that door, and it was just brilliant. Especially, I think, did you order pizza? And it was just fun. I
knew somebody was going to go through that door because they set it up in the beginning of that segment when Bailey's like, "Thank you for using the door." I said, "Well, that's what you do. That's what you use it for." I was like, somebody could come through.
Yeah, and the whole new set thing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was, I mean, just gold. Speaking of shades of gray, it's so weird because Apollo Crews is a heel, but Sami Zayn's supposed to be a heel, but I guess Sami Zayn is now a face when it comes to Apollo Crews, and that's frustrating.
He's crazy. Crazy people operate every side.
Well,
one is a more opaque shade of gray.
Yeah,
that part.
I mean, Sammy's wonderful, and that to me is how you're supposed to do a heel, and that's why it rubs me the wrong way of having Apollo kind of negate that. That's something that, and this is one of those things in any form of entertainment when you have two defined characters and you have one negating the other one, there's no point in doing anything. So that's a problem in that. But on the flip side, the Big E and Kevin Owens, Apollo was taking so long to get it out of his mouth that it was going to be Aziz and him. You heard, and they cut away from it as Owens goes, he's going to say it's the big guy. and Big E's like, oh, it's gonna be the big guy. It was just so fun that they were having so much fun, and it's just like, I guess that's it. I just don't. Again, I don't feel that real connection to what Apollo Crews is doing. And when they took Sami Zayn and he's yelling at him in that Nigerian accent, which is, again, it's like, man, I've heard you for 10 years of your career just talk like a regular everyday person, and now even though it's your heritage, it just feels like we could have hired any African American to play that role at this point, and that's the sad thing about it. And it also goes to stress the point that, boy, if you're black and you talk with an accent, Vince makes you a heel at first, going on Kofi and his Jamaican accent. So I don't know. And maybe, down the road, maybe that's it. Maybe you turn Kofi heel and you have the draft. He goes to SmackDown and Kofi gains his Jamaican accent back, and then him and Apollo become this tag team.
Which is pretty funny because, like, you know, Kofi is actually is he from? Where's Kofi from? Is he from Ghana? Or where's he from?
Ghana.
Yeah, Ghana.
Ghana.
So he's African. So I mean, it's just weird as shit. But
it's not weird as shit. It's Vince
McMahon shit.
Cultural understanding and
or lack thereof.
Exactly how he thinks the world works. But really, overall, yeah, SmackDown was a great show. I think, again, when you look at storylines, that's the one thing that they have going for them. They have cohesive storylines. And it's as simple as that. Keep the storylines, identifiable. And by the way, those are all the people that you should be using on that show. And I think that's the problem, again, of thinking about, well, if this person comes up or that person comes up, whatever, look how hard it is to get a cohesive show together. And they're doing it on SmackDown by the skin of their teeth. So, but of course, the crown jewel is just that Uso and Roman and the interaction and everything. The address that Roman had to Jimmy,
powerful. It was powerful.
Yeah, because you only raise your voice when you need to show that passion. And what he's doing is he's making the guy feel guilty. You can totally relate that he's using that as a tool. It's brilliant because you want to see that psychology. You as an audience member want to root for Jimmy, but then you kind of go, well, maybe he should join the family. Like, why wouldn't he? So you know what they need is another Uso to show up, another brother.
Where could they possibly get one from?
I don't know.
You know what? That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem.
Knowing them, what will happen is Vince will just take some random Samoan and tell him you're an Uso.
Oh my gosh! Please don't. Please don't.
No. But yeah, that's pretty much it for SmackDown. SmackDown was solid, and that's it.
Special shout out for the celebrity cameo on this week's SmackDown, though. Just have to put it out there. Did you guys notice that we had Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure make an appearance on SmackDown this week?
I didn't catch
that at all.
At what point?
Otis. He trimmed it up. Take a look at the photos side by side. Tell me it's not. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Good shit.
All right. Just quickly on Ring of Honor. So what's going on over there? They are they're working on now figuring out who's going to get a future shot at the world title against Rush. And I thought this was pretty interesting. The board of directors, what they did was they chose 12 wrestlers that never held the ROH championship and not currently in the world title ranking to be in this bracket. And out of these 12 teams, the winner of each one would eventually become into a 6-way eliminator match, which will determine who will become number one. So that's a little different from what we kind of hear from all the different type of matches they have, kind of thinking out of the box. So we'll see where that goes. I won't name all the people who are in that match, but they're having that weekly. So if you're interested in to see who will Rush end up fighting eventually, this is the time to be watching that tournament. There was also a Kenny King and Dragon Lee versus Hot Sauce Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus for the World Tag Team Championship, and that was a good match as well. You had Tracy that was pretty much about to get a 3 count on Dragon Lee, but Kenny King forgot that he's used all of their rope breaks, and he went in to stop that count, and that, of course, caused them to lose that, which keeps the belt on to Tracy Williams and Rhett Titus. And then all hell eventually broke out with that, bringing LFI to the ring, from which I didn't even catch. And that's probably because I told you I didn't even see the show that happened a week before. But apparently LFI had been, I think, suspended for the month of June. So or was it June or May? It's one of the two that they were suspended in. But nevertheless, they came out, and then I brought the foundation eventually to come out because they have to keep things in order. So like I said, all hell broke loose. But that was pretty much ROH. It's really, like I always say, it's always great to check it out, to see it. It's a different type of wrestling, which is really great. And now seeing who's going to get this future shot is something you should keep your eyes on. That's Ring of Honor. Let me jump over to New Japan right quick. Sin City, is there anything that did we mention? You wasn't here last week, right?
No, I was here.
You was, okay. All right. Did we mention the whole idea of and I'm sure we did, about Shingo being now the IWGP? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is new that has happened since he's now taken his title?
Since he's got the championship, I mean, they're still dealing with the fallout from COVID and essentially a new outbreak that they've been dealing with. Their next event is actually their next major event is July 10th, which is aptly titled Summer Struggle. So that's going to be coming to you from Sapporo, and we'll see what happens. But it's definitely interesting. We'll see how Shingo does, with his championship defenses. And I think that realistically, once they kind of get out of this shadow that they're under right now, I think that everything is gonna be fine for New Japan. But unfortunately, they've had a major setback, and they're trying to do damage control, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, I see that. All right, cool. I got you there. Looked like we lost Matt Michaels, but let's jump over into some NXT. I know that he's watched the the In Your House. Simon Street, you've also watched that. So you want to give us some highlights on what you've taken from the pay-per-view?
I thought it was a solid pay-per-view. Some of the highlight matches that I really enjoyed was surprisingly enough, Martinez versus Xia Li. I actually enjoyed that. Seeing Xia Li go over on that one, I think it was good for her. She's somebody, and I like how they set it up, and they did it even on NXT earlier this week. Goes back to the Mae Young Classic when she lost that, and how that was. Interesting enough, the only problem I had with that match was at the end. After it was all said and done, Xia Li got the roll up, was done. I felt like they didn't need to do all that, but as we soon kind of watched, we saw that it led to Martinez, in much of the same fashion as Shayna Baszler on Raw, succumbing to some supernatural shit. Let's put it that way, right? And so I'm interested to see what the hell's going to happen in the next freaking week. That $1 Million Man match between LA Knight and Cameron Grimes to the Moon, that was an excellent match. I don't know how y'all felt about it. As we stated earlier, there were people that were part of our podcast that shit all over Cameron Grimes, but he really is destined for great things. And even though that result didn't go in his favor, I still feel like, man, like he made that match spectacular along with LA Knight. So now LA Knight has that new championship. It's official. It ain't like just no placeholder. That was a cool match. But that, man, the last match, boy, I'm gonna be real. As in the chat thought some of us was sleeping. I don't want to give too much away. I'm sorry, guys, but I was watching back and forth, trying to do the podcast and watch that because we started earlier, and it was an excellent, excellent match. everybody participated at the right time. Everybody was where they needed to be. It was amazing. It really was. And the build up that was happening, NXT priors, especially this past week, was really, really good. A lot of big things, again, going on with NXT. NXT is always, like I said, solid. And I do now feel that this was the second In Your House, correct? Am I correct in saying that? This is the second In Your House?
Yeah, they did it last year, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I did, and we might have to go in the archives and see. I did say I hope after the first one that this is something they do yearly, and I want to see it. As far as with that last match, I'm gonna tell you right now, if I had to pick one of those gentlemen that was the standout, Johnny Gargano, that motherfucker is fucking amazing. And every time, if you may forget, he's going to remind you why he is Johnny Takeover. Because that man shows up, leaves it all in the ring. I mean, he was, I guess you could say, the glue that kind of held the match together in some ways. If you looked at a lot of different transitions, he was doing a lot of things. I remember seeing it as I'm trying to do the podcast and watching. He was doing just the most. And it looked fantastic. And like I said, I will actually watch that match again after we're done, so I could just watch it because it was that exciting. Great In Your House. I like how they started off. You know what I mean? It was excellent. I even watched the pre-show and saw some of the gentlemen that they had with the pre-show and everything. And even that was entertaining. You know what I mean? They really have a different type of feel to the In Your House. And I feel like that's the direction NXT's going to. You got the takeovers, but now you got your In Your House. And I mean, that's just my take on it.
Matt Michaels, did you want to add anything to the show you saw tonight? Or
yeah, of course. The ladder match was amazing as well, like you said. I think that here's the thing. If you look at it, everything is just solid from top to bottom when they do their takeover shows. There's not matches you can look at and go, boy, that was lame, or boy, that was a waste of time, or nice bathroom break, or anything like that. The only thing that I'm disappointed is during the spot that Cross went through the door. They should have just had Cesaro just behind the door. That would have been awesome.
Hey, did you guys order pizza?
But you know what? And hats off to bringing having Pettengill as the host.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about Todd Pettengill is the fact that he commits to the asinine stuff that he's asked to do, and it still is fun to see him just kind of, get shit, for being Todd Pettengill. It's fucking awesome. So good production all around, and just phenomenal. Again, going from the week of TV leading into this, both things were very solid, and we're getting and the match that opened. Oh my God, that was wonderful. The El Fantasmo. It's a shame that we knew they weren't going to pull the switch. Unfortunately, when they announced that like that, it was like, oh shit, okay. But the sequence they did where you had each of them essentially dive onto onto everyone outside for it to lead up to Bronson doing his dive was just great. And then to end the match with a super kick and then getting hit by an aerial move and then getting hit by the splash. Boy, you earned your money that night. I'm sure he was like putting the match together. He's probably looking at him going, oh shit, really, guys? Really? Like, do it just one other guy take one other finisher? Come on. So, but yeah, great show.
All right, good stuff. So before we conclude, future stars of wrestling, do we want to mention anything about what's going on with them?
Yeah, I guess we can. If you'd like, DJ, we will. The anniversary show is this coming Friday night, the 18th, and then Saturday the 19th as well, which is going to be fabulous. It's going to be on Fight TV pay-per-view. If you're not in Las Vegas, you can't make it out. If you're in Vegas, go to FSW for tickets. There are still some tickets available. So please, if you haven't been out in a while or haven't been to a wrestling match or never been to a wrestling match, it's a good time to start. It's going to be a nice little venue close to the Orleans, which gives a feel of kind of that Vegas lounge type feel with, tables and chairs and bar, and there's going to be food, and there's an after party for $25 on Friday night. That is going to be phenomenal. There's also, all the meet and greets and stuff like that, I believe, are still available if you want to check that out. But if you're at home, check it out on Fight TV. The one thing of note that happened this week is Leo Rush announced his retirement. So unfortunately, Leo just went under the knife for his surgery on his shoulder. And he'll be finishing then when he recuperates, he'll be finishing his dates with New Japan. And then he's wrapping it up. Being a new father, he wants to do it right this time, is what he said. And he's young enough that, of course, at some point, his kid's going to be old enough to where he's going to go, I want my child to see me do what I knew I could do, and he'll probably come out of retirement. But it looks like it's Casey Navarro and Chris Bay going at it, which should be pretty nice. EC3 is going to be there. So Impact, you can get all excited about being able to see EC3. That would be, your boy there.
Control your narrative.
But you got the big Rumble on the first night. That's going to determine the opponent for Hammerstone on the next night, on the Saturday night show. And right now, that's anyone's guess of who's going to end up winning that Rumble. You got guys like Juicy in it. You got Danny Limelight. And then, of course, the FSW guys like Hero Lou. And you're also going to see Matt Vandegrift versus TJP.
Yeah.
So I hope the deposit that they put down is something that they can get back, because Lord knows what they'll do. Those crazy guys. Remy Marcel is going to defend the Nevada State title against Sean Davari. So it's going to be good to see Davari and Remy go at it. You're going to see Sandra Moon and Maserati for the women's championship. So that's, just a brief account of what's going on. You'll, if you tune in on, I believe it's going to be on Facebook Live, the pre-show will be going on, I would assume, somewhere around an hour about the show. It's going to be a 7:00 show, Pacific time. You can catch the pre-show, like I said, either at like 6 p.m. Pacific, 6:30, maybe even 5:30 Pacific. Still finding out details about that, but we are sponsoring the show, and we will be going forward. Hopefully, continue to sponsor FSW for upcoming shows, and we'll be participating in working on the pre-shows with them. So some good stuff going on out here. And then, of course, June 26th will be Big Valley Wrestling's Loud and Proud to support the LGBTQ Center of Southern Nevada. And we're sponsoring Effie for that show. But main event is Deshade versus Jay Vidal. And there's a host of other great talent on the show. So check that out as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Michaels. We have concluded all the wrestling talk, and if you're watching us live here, we're going to jump back on in a minute to handle 3 count, which we got really good topics. I think is going to be very engaging. So definitely, if you're watching us, hop back on in a few minutes when we get back on. And if you're listening to this podcast, thank you for listening. Tuesday is when you will hear a 3 count. And again, download it, take a listen, and by all means, send your response in our social media chats. All right. So with that, we want to thank everybody for listening, and we will see you. Oh, actually, that's program note. We will not be here next week because it's Father's Day. So we will have some other programming in place that will be released Monday morning. But, you know, we got a couple of fathers that's on here, and we have all 4 of us that have fathers. So that's how that works. So with that, we will see you with Wrestling Talk in a week after next.